Hello, SCLC family, and welcome to a special edition of SCLC TV. I'm your host, Maynard Eaton, and of course, I'm joined by our president and CEO, Dr. Charles Steele Jr. Dr. Steele, the whole nation is talking about Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp, who says he's reopening barbershops, pool rooms, nail salons, things of that nature. He's even been condemned by President Trump. What say you, sir?
Well, first of all, anyone that would do something that ludicrous is insensitive to the needs of people. And we've been saying all along with the Put People campaign that America must do better. And to have the governor of Georgia to bring his mindset to that way of thinking and thinking that commerce comes over human life need to be questioned.
There are those who are questioning whether or not this is intently designed to use working class people as guinea pigs or lab rats to see what happens. You've heard that criticism before.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't forget about the Tuskegee experiment. You know, it seemed to be an experimental type of situation in terms of what took place in Tuskegee with the syphilis case, when people thought they were getting antibiotics and they end up getting the bacteria for syphilis so they could be studied. So it seems as though we are being studied or trying to project or bring about the trajectory of being studied in terms of the service industry. And you're basically talking about African Americans and people of Asian descent. This is a slap in the face. And then I have someone with the audacity to contact and to bring out a tweet against the mayor of Atlanta, Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom, and call her the N-word. She is doing her job and to be applauded, and she's doing what anyone with sensible way of thinking and concerns and love for their people, and that means all of God's children, would do. She's saying it's too soon. We can't afford any type of insensitiveness, not caring for the people and bringing about the ultimate solution, and that's death. And what we're saying is that this governor is bringing about a temporary solution to a permanent problem in terms of doing what is right and bring about taking care of people who getting their unemployment compensations. People are in the mindset of thinking, you rather for me to be at risk of dying rather than for me to be on the unemployment line and receiving my unemployment check that I'm well deserving of. This is where we are, and this is where we're going. And as a civil rights organization and president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, we're not going to tolerate it.
Speaking of that, the former president, the founder of SCLC, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., is quoted as having said, conscious stupidity or sincere ignorance when it comes to issues like that. As his leader now, is this ignorance or is this purposely being done?
I think it's racist. I call it like it is. It's racism. And that's what people don't want to talk about. We are embedded in terms of the mindset and the actuality of what our problems is. Don't forget, Dr. King also said the 3 ills in society happen to be racism, poverty, and militaristic. That's what's being experienced right now through the mindset and the implementation of the executive order of this governor.
Finally, our SCLC headquarters is on Auburn Avenue, just walking distance from the state capitol. How did you receive this? How did it impact you when you heard this, when you saw about opening up Georgia and Atlanta tomorrow?
Well, you mentioned we're just a few steps from the state capitol. It didn't take this for me to realize that we had a problem, Maynard. We have homeless people all around us. I go to work every day, regardless of the restriction, regardless of COVID-19. I'm committed to go to my office, not with anyone else, not in the meetings, not socializing, but I'm isolated on my thinking and my communication to God and the Trinity in terms of what I do and to get my vision and my mandate from heaven. So as I approach my office every morning, before I can get to the door, I have to cross over 2 or 3 homeless people that spend the night right there in the corner of my entrance point to my office. And this is something that when I enter my office, I go and open up the blinds and I look in the back and there are people sleeping out on the streets, on the sidewalk. They are hungry. They are eating out of garbage cans. So to answer your question, it didn't take COVID-19 for me to realize that this government and no other government has exemplified itself of caring for poor people and those who are less fortunate, and particularly people of color.
Finally, in the news of late, Georgia State Representative Vernon Jones has resigned after getting pushback and criticism for his all-out support for President Trump. Were you surprised by that? Do you think he should have been driven from office?
I'm not surprised of anything that's not genuine. when it comes from the heart, man, you stand. You don't try to fit in. You know, you stand, and when you stand out. You don't give in to pressure in something that you believe in. So I think it was orchestrated to the fact that Mr. Jones didn't believe in what he said and what he stood for.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a special edition of SCLC TV, talking about Brian Kemp, Governor Brian Kemp's decision to reopen Georgia and what it may portend. Our guest, of course, is our president and CEO, Dr. Charles Steele Jr. See you next time.